Good morning, children. Now, the next topic which we are going to take is election campaign. What is election campaigning? So, election campaigning, if we translate this word, it actually means chunav prachar. You might be familiar with this word. Before the contesting of the elections, usually election campaigning takes place. You might have heard many political parties announcements going on here and there. There are number of ads on televisions and radios. The newspapers are filled with the advertisements of the policies or the schemes which the political parties are going to offer. So this is all about election campaigning. Now, the main purpose of we know that the main purpose of election is to choose a representative. It gives a chance to the people to choose their representatives, and the government they want that what type of government should make laws for them or should take the decisions for them. The election give us free chance to choose our representatives as well as the government. Therefore, it is required to have an open discussion about what policies they are going to offer. So in election campaigning they do the same thing. The political parties tell us about the policies they are going to offer, the schemes they are going to launch, what welfare things they are going to do for the public. So this when we'll come to know about the policies or the schemes which will be offered by the different political parties, we will be having lots of options to choose from, that what kind of policies and laws and decisions we want for us. So this is what happens during the election campaigning, that different parties tells us about their laws, policies, functioning and all these things. Now in our country the election campaigning takes place before or for a period of 2 weeks, and that is the period between when the announcement of final list of candidates is being done and the date of polling. तो जब से जो फाइनल कैंडिडेट्स इलेक्शन में खड़े होने वाले हैं तब से उनका नाम अनाउंस होता है और जब तक कि फाइनल वोटिंग डे आता है उसके बीच का जो टाइम पीरियड है उसमें जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ है वो कैंपेनिंग करती है. इस पीरियड के ड्यूरिंग क्या होता है, जो कैंडिडेट्स हैं वो अपने वोटर्स से कांटेक्ट करते हैं एंड द पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स दे एड्रेस बिग रैलीज, दे कॉल बिग असेंबलीज और they also their supporters also mobilize from one place to another to influence the people towards them. Now during this period only the newspapers and the televisions are flooded with the ads or stories or debates relating to the political parties. But this 2-week period is the official period which is given, or the time which is given by the government. But actually the political parties start preparing for elections and start their campaigning on their level months before the elections are going to take place. Now in election campaigning the political parties usually focuses on the major public issues or the public problems, and they bring in focus those issues which are pending for a long time and they promise the people to sort a solution for that particular problem. They attract the people to that issue, to that particular issue and attract the votes on its basis. Now here some examples are given of the successful slogans which were used by different political parties during their election campaigning. So in the year 1971 the Congress party, which was led by Indira Gandhi at that time, gave the slogan of Garibi Hatao, that is remove poverty, and it promised that all the policies of the government would be relating to the removal of poverty in the country. Now, in the year 1977 Lok Sabha elections, the Janata Party, which was led by Jay Prakash Narayan at that time, gave the slogan of Save Democracy, and they promised to undo the access things which were done during the emergency, and it promised to restore the democracy and civil liberties. Now, the other slogan which was used in the year 1977 in West Bengal Assembly was Land to the Tiller, and another one is Protect the Self-Respect of the Telugus, which was used by Rama Rao, the leader of Telugu Desam Party in Andhra Pradesh in the year 1983. So these are the examples which tell us that political parties stick to some slogans. They make that slogans their motto, and they work on that only. They fix their 2 or 3 mottos or a single motto or such slogan, and they will try to convince the people and influence the people according to that particular slogan only, and they try to work and promise the people that they are going to definitely fulfill that particular promise and give the best to them. Now, in a democratic country, the way the political parties and candidates want to conduct their election campaigning, they are free for them. Whatever way they want to conduct it, they are free to it, and it is the best way that they should be left free to conduct their campaigning. But in some cases, sometimes some regulations are being made so as to ensure that political parties and the candidates gets a free and equal chance to compete with each other. So some rules are being made. So according to our election law, no political party or candidate can do these following things during their election campaigning. They cannot bribe or threaten the voter. Bribe means किसी को रिश्वत देना या कोई लालच दे के वोटर्स को अट्रैक्ट करना. They cannot do this thing. They cannot appeal to them in the name of the caste or religion. They cannot say that I am a Hindu leader, so all the Hindus have to vote me, or I am a Muslim leader. So they cannot attract the people or influence their thinking on the basis of the caste or religion. They cannot use the government resources for election campaigning, and some amount of money is also fixed which can only be spent in the election campaigning, like rupees 25 lakh in the Lok Sabha election and 10 lakhs in assembly elections. This is the limit which is fixed by the government, that only this much money can be spent, and these things have to be kept in mind while doing the election campaigning. And if any political party or candidate is found doing all these above things, then their election can be rejected by the court, even if they are declared elected, even if they win the election. And after that also, if it is found that they did the following things while their election campaigning, so it can also be rejected after being elected. Now, all the political parties agreed to a model code of conduct. Now, what is code of conduct? So code of conduct is actually some set of rules or guidelines which are followed by the political parties and their candidates during the election time. So all the political parties have agreed to a model code of conduct for election campaigning, that they will stick to these rules and regulations. Now, according to this model code of conduct, no party or candidate can do these following things, which we'll read now. That they cannot use any place of worship or temple or religious places for their election propaganda or election campaigning. They cannot hold their meetings or rallies or such kind of they cannot organize such things at any religious places. They cannot use the government vehicles or aircrafts and offices for election campaigning. And once the elections date is announced, no minister can lay the foundation of any project and take any big policy decision or make any promises of providing public facilities. एक बार जब इलेक्शन की डेट अनाउंस हो गई उसके बाद कोई भी मिनिस्टर किसी नए प्रोजेक्ट का इनॉग्रेशन नहीं कर सकता है, कोई बड़ी पॉलिसी का डिसीजन नहीं ले सकता है और या फिर कोई बड़े बड़े प्रोमिसेस की वो ऐसी पब्लिक फैसिलिटीज़ अभी नहीं प्रोवाइड करवाना शुरू कर देगा, ऐसा नहीं कर सकते. दे कैन मेक द प्रॉमिस कि आफ्टर दे विन द इलेक्शन दे कैन डू दैट, पर ऐसा नहीं कि वो अभी से वो फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड करना शुरू कर दे ताकि लोग उससे अट्रैक्ट हो जाए. तो ये सारी चीज़ें नहीं की जा सकती है. नाउ द लास्ट एंड द फाइनल स्टेज ऑफ इलेक्शन इज़ द polling and counting of votes. This is the last stage in the whole election process. Now on this particular day when it is the polling day or the election day, the voters go to cast their vote. This day is usually called the election day. Now every person whose name is registered on the voters list can go to the polling booth. So polling booth are usually the places where people go to cast their votes. Some government schools or government offices are made the polling booth. And once the voter goes inside the booth, the election conducting officials who are sitting there identifies the people. They put a mark on the finger of the voters and allow him or her to cast the vote. Now, an agent of each candidate of the political parties is allowed to sit on the polling booth, and that particular agent ensures that the voting is being done in a fair manner. Now, earlier the election process or the voting was being done with the help of the ballot paper. The voters used to put a stamp on the ballot paper on whichever political party they wish to like. This was sort of a ballot paper, and if there were 4 political parties contesting in an election, different symbols of the political parties were drawn here, and the voter was given with a stamp, and he would put a stamp like he wanted to choose this party, so he would put a stamp over here and fold the paper and put it inside the ballot box, and the voting was done in this manner. But now this system has been changed, and electronic voting machines, EVMs, are now being used to record the votes. This machines shows the name of all the candidates who are contesting in the parties along with their party symbols. See here, like this is a voting machine. So here will be screen, and the name of the candidates will be displayed here, and their political symbols would be here. Now the voters will go inside the booth. This electronic voting machine would be kept there. They would go and they would press the button of whichever political party they want to choose, and they would cast their vote in such manner. That name will be displayed here on the screen on the button which they have pressed. जो बटन उन्होंने दबाया है, प्रेस किया है, वो पर्टिकुलर कैंडिडेट और उसका पार्टी सिंबल यहाँ डिस्प्ले होगा और उनको वोट चला जाएगा. Now once this whole process is over of polling and all voting, these electronic voting machines, they are being sealed, means they are being packed, and they are taken to a secure place, and a few days later, on the date which is being fixed for the announcement of the results, all the electronic voting machines are opened and the votes are being counted. The agents of all the candidates are present on that place to ensure that the counting is being done properly, and the candidate who secures the highest number of votes from a particular constituency is declared elected. Now in a general election, the counting of votes in all the constituencies takes place at the same day on the same timing, and the TV channels, radios and newspapers are continuously covering this event. and within a few hours of counting, all the results are being declared, and it becomes clear that who is forming the government. So this completes the process of election. We saw that the election process started with the the marking of the constituencies were the first stage, then the making of the voter list, then came the nomination of the candidates, then the election campaigning, and finally the voting day and the counting of the votes, and then the then the government or the winner is being announced. And now here one topic or one discussion is being given here: are the elections too expensive for our country? So this is a general discussion, and you have to decide that the elections are too much expensive or not. So you just go through this para or this box and just decide on yourself that are the elections expensive for our country, or it is okay for our country to afford the elections.